Ah, all right. All right. I think. Yeah, there we go. YouTube's up. Welcome to another oh, one of these days I'll come up with a name, I promise. I probably won't. Anyway, welcome to another I guess this is semi-sponsored. I my anonymous sponsor from last time uh apparently liked the um thank you, but I don't know why. Apparently liked the storyline behind how I, or not the storyline, the process behind how I create these things so much that he gave me a tip afterwards. So I thought, you know what? Why not? Let's do it again. And yes, I'm partially also doing this to annoy the people in the Discord because they are petty. But enough about them. So today we are actually going to, I think, go through and try to finish all three of the day's events. And really, where we left off was kind of interesting. Um, the collective 53rd Corps here in the West had launched a very well put together um, assault on the technocratic lines. That is, I can't remember what street this was. Queen Victoria, that's right, Queen Victoria Valley, because it's in between large buildings. So to Squirrels, this might as well be a valley. So the 53rd Corps launched a very deep attack, but it ran into reinforcements, technocratic reinforcements in the form of the 7th and the 8th Division. Oops. Let me just pull up to see if I put. Oh, I didn't put. Ooh, that's not good. I didn't put the 8th down. Let's see. 7th is General Woolley, and I did not give the 8th a. Well, we'll get back to that. That's no problem. So anyway, the attack got bogged down because just as they were coming across the valley, the 7th and the 8th deployed off their assembly grounds by the Cannon Street the station, because they get transported nicely. They get transported nicely, across the bridge. And this happened at the same time as the technocrats launched their own attack from the lofty heights of HMRC. I love how this, just as a side note, this is partially why I decided to create this series, because I used to live in London, and so a lot of this is quite nostalgic for me to talk about. Because I used to work. Oh well, we'll leave it at that. I used to work in this area. Let's just zoom out a little and say in this area. So the 16th Division and the 15th Division launched their attacks across because they're trying to get to the ultimate squirrel holy ground, at least the technocratic holy ground of the Tower of London. And with its fertile ground for of both the giants that will randomly feed them, but also because their ancestors also lived here. So that was going on. They managed quite well, and the 15th would turn left, and essentially the goal here is the 15th turns left and essentially tries to move to the north of Trinity Square to cut off reinforcements that are even now arriving at the. Actually, we can do this now. So over a day of hard fighting, the 15th managed to wedge itself kind of right here on the grounds of the Four Seasons Hotel. So there's epic battle between squirrels in the courtyards. The 6th also got, it essentially is bogged down in that And so what we're essentially saying is that the technocrats have a fairly good line that sort of runs in this particular direction. Yeah, and so the collective itself is also trying its hardest. It's doing something like this. Let's move that up a little just to give our technocratic boys a little bit of ground here, and then no, they come down to Muscovy. Yes, that's just a little bit topical. Anyway, so yeah, so this is how the front line looks like on the 13th, the morning of the 13th. There are a bunch of security formations here that are making sure that nothing happens. The 2nd Division in the west is demonstrating quite heavily against the 23rd and sort of pinning that in. Oh yeah, we should add the 6 to the let me just do this real quick. What is this? This is 12B. Oh, we're already on 13. Oh, oops. Well, we'll add it in when we get to 13. It's all good. So while that is going on, of course, the 16th Division is still on its en route to the more complicated grounds, right? And the idea is the 16th will rush towards the essentially try to not pinch, what are we saying? It's trying to break into this area, because of course right now it's also apparently lightly guarded because the collective is silly. They're trying to establish some defensive line, essentially. Shall we? Let's draw. The defensive line will essentially be this line, right? Like the Tower Bridge approach, if we look at it, is actually quite a. This is not an easy street to cross for squirrels, and so technocratic high command believes that as long as they can hold this particular line, they'll be good. So we'll talk about that going forward, but essentially, not only is holding this line a big deal, because then if they can cut off as what amounts to be these tracks, and forget this part, we'll add it in if the story ever gets there. If it ever gets to this part and cuts off the rail line, then suddenly all of these reinforcements that come are going to be in danger, as well as now you're looking at a bulge in the line, right? All of the 52nd Division is starting to feel a little bit cramped in this bulge if the technocrats are able to establish themselves firmly both on the south and in the north of the 52nd. So it's a fairly audacious move, and pretty standard for our technocratic squirrels. They're doing it with a smaller, maybe we shouldn't say smaller, more tightly packed formations. So divisions and then security personnel, essentially very light screening on this between what amounts to be the 15th and the 2nd Division, which, if we remember, the 2nd Division is also under strength because it's essentially has to push out the 308, which doesn't have enough strength to reduce this pocket, but can keep it fairly contained. I'm talking too much. Anyway, okay. So the rest of the line looks okay. We should say that there are going to be reinforcements that are coming down in this direction, but they are not ready yet. 33%. 33%. No, I shouldn't be doing it this way. I should just take the entire thing like that. 33, there we go. So there's going to be additional reinforcements coming down this way. Essentially, you know, it's a race between the technocrats and the collective to try to gain this height. And as of right now, it looks very much like the technocrats will just be not only be able to establish themselves on the southern side of Bywater Street, but they'll also be able to just cross the street north and into the fertile grounds to the north as well. So that's fairly impressive. That's fairly impressive. I've been ignoring you, I mean all of you, for the last bit because I wanted to get this through. But yes, I'll answer some questions now. Good question. How do I determine how this goes? I have documents because I am an engineer by training. I have documents, I have spreadsheets, no, I won't show those spreadsheets. Privacy reasons. I have documents and spreadsheets that I use to essentially calculate how this goes. And yes, you're actually absolutely correct. It is basically like tabletop role-playing for me. And in some ways, yeah, I kind of wish someone else would run a campaign like this, but then I actually would not appreciate that as much because I think I need more free flowing, and no game master will be able to keep up with just the sheer amount of ideas I have in place too. I don't know why I'm looking at the screen. Yeah, no game master will have the at least I don't think will have the ability to keep up with just how many ideas and how quickly I can screw up someone's plan. and yeah, I mean, yeah, you can take that as a challenge. If you're able to run a game that would be fun for all of us, I would love that, honestly. Like I think a couple of us boys together can play a game of some sort. It doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, this, because you're obviously incapable of running this. Yeah, but yeah, like absolutely. If you can think of something you want the boys to run, I think that's very fair. So anyway, in the north we have the 6th division, which was fairly, I think, if I remember correctly, it was spared a lot of the initial rushes. All it really needed to do was to defend. It's a new division, yes, and it needed to really defend this valley, and then it pushed across as the 51st Corps, the collective 51st Corps, retreated to the northwest. I don't expect anyone to actually know what I'm talking about, because this is so deep in the lore that unless you're actively following the serialized Squirrels at War stuff, none of this will make sense. So don't worry if you don't get it. Anyway, yeah, so we've done that, and now we're going to, let's see, we're going to just, this attack has petered out and is moving in this direction. No, this is no. Point 3. So this attack has completely petered out. We're now at a point where the positions here are fairly entrenched because there are basically 2 full collective formations to the south of Queen Victoria Valley now, and that basically, what was it? Thread needle? I can't remember. Oh, I can't remember where Thread Needle ends and Queen Victoria begins. Nah, it doesn't matter. It's probably Queen Victoria. We'll just go with that. Anyway, so there are enough two full formations behind. There's not really enough room to maneuver, which is what the technocratic forces are generally better at. And so the entire western line from Queen Street Valley all the way up to essentially what was that, Wormwood, right? Yeah. Is fairly static, and as we just saw, there was some minor expansion of the bridgeheads because the 10th division got handsy. Well, let's go with handsy. And so the pocket of the 9th, collective 9th division, which is trapped by, ironically, or maybe not ironically, but at least it's trapped by the 9th of the technocrats. And so those are always fun. I think that is actually it for this first part of the day. The 6th Guard is caught up in pretty heavy battle with the 15th. There might be a case for the 16th leaving a brigade or even a reinforced regiment just for here. So let's do that. You're no longer the 7th or 3rd. We'll say you're the 7th. Roll die. 752nd. Okay. So the 752nd. 753rd. 52rd. 752nd. There we go. 752nd. So the 752nd Regiment of the 16th Division remains as sort of rear guard, and so by that we'll reduce the size of it. And we're good. Yeah, that looks good, right? And so 17 minutes for a single one. Maybe I was too ambitious. Oops. Okay. Well, regardless, we're just gonna set this up for next time. We are actually going to. So the good thing about me running my own game is that obviously I can step in and play God, and so this will be a joint operation by the 53rd and the 51st Corps to reduce this northwestern bridgehead. And I think they're not that smart, so well, their command structure is pretty it's still, even after incorporating all of these army corps, they're still quite slow at responding. So contrary to the technocrats who actually work very independently, and that's why none of these formations are yet part of any army corps. The collective tends to be a more lumbering machine, so maybe they haven't realized, or they might not even know. Actually, no, they'll know the goal of the 16th, because they only see 50. Oh no, maybe they think this is the 16th. Yeah, well, we'll go with that. The collective thinks that the rearguard left behind in the form of the 752nd Regiment is actually the core of the 16th Division, which means that they're not yet worried about 16th Division appearing on this side. They'll be in for a surprise. Okay. Wow. Okay, we are way over time. Thank you very much for watching today. Yeah, I didn't take any other questions because all your other questions were from I can't believe that 15 of you have been unable to formulate more than one interesting question. That is shame. For shame. Shame on you guys. All right. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. In conclusion, please get rid of Chrome, download Firefox, and we shall leave it there for today. Have a good night.